The target camera has its usefulness, especially for still images. However, I prefer a free camera, and that's because I have more control. I can rotate the camera directly rather than rely on the target to determine the rotation values. Let's create a free physical camera. We'll go back to the Create panel and click on Physical. And we can't actually disable the target at creation time. We have to create it as a targeted camera and then turn the target off after we've built the camera. The creation process is the same as before. We just click and drag in the view, then release the mouse, and then that camera's been created. To disable the target, let's go directly over to the Modify panel and then shut Targeted off. And now you'll see there's no target here. I'll move the camera up, grab the Move tool, and maybe move it up precisely numerically, let's say to 5 feet and 4 inches. With the Move tool active, I can go down to the Transform Type-In area here, and in the Z axis, type in 5'4", and then a double quote, 5 feet 4 inches, and press Enter. And then load that camera into a panel. Go over here, click on the name of the panel, and then choose Cameras and the name of the camera. And again, hit the F3 so we can see shading. To manipulate a free camera, we would use the standard Move and Rotate tools. If I want to do a pan, I would grab the Rotate tool and rotate it in the World Z axis. You could do that in the top view or really any view. And of course, I can move that around and position it. Additionally, we can manipulate the camera in a first-person mode while we're looking through the camera lens, as it were. And that can be done from the keyboard shortcuts or from the viewport navigation tools in the lower right corner here. We've got the standard position, and that's done with the middle mouse button, and that'll allow us to just change the camera's height and also its position left to right. Let me undo that because I want to just move it side to side without changing its height. And to do that, I can use Shift and Alt. And now I can move in just one axis. Pretty cool. And then, of course, we've got the rotations. We saw that we could rotate in a third-person method using the Rotate tool. If we want to pan here in this view, then we'll want to go over to our viewport navigation controls and go down here. And we've got Truck Camera, which is side to side. We've got Orbit Camera, which is spin around a center of interest. But hidden underneath that Orbit Camera is a very useful pan control. And you have to have a camera viewport active in order to do this. Physical Camera 1 viewport has to be active. Go down here and hold down that Orbit Camera button. And then you will see a camera with a little hand icon. Kind of a confusing icon, but that is pan or rotate around the camera's own local axis. And then I can go over here to my camera viewport. And if I rotate without holding down any keyboard shortcuts, then I'm actually going to be panning, tilting at the same time. I can tilt up and down. I can pan left to right. I'll undo that with Control Z. If I only want to pan, once again, I can use the keyboard shortcut, which is Shift. Hold down Shift and then drag left to right or up and down to constrain the movement. And sometimes it's a little bit tricky. You might not get it right the first time because 3ds Max is just trying to detect your mouse movement to determine whether it should rotate up and down or side to side. Hold down Shift and drag left to right with confidence, and then you will actually get a real pan. So we've got our physical camera. There are a lot of very cool controls here in the physical camera. It simulates the behavior of a real camera in the real world. In this course, we're just looking at the extreme basics of essential training. If you want to learn all about the physical camera, you can look up another course I did, which is called 3ds Max 2016 New Features. The main thing we do want to do here is to control the focal length, also known as field of view. And that's this parameter here. That's our zoom control. You can click and drag on that focal length to zoom in and out. If you want a specific angle of view horizontally, you can turn on Specify FOV and then enter a value here. You can say I want a field of view of 45 degrees, which is a pretty natural look. and it kind of emulates the way a human eye sees the world. But if you want to take in more of the scene here, you'll need a wider angle of view. Specify FOV to something like 80 degrees, and now you've got a wide-angle shot. That's the essentials of using a physical camera, either in a targeted mode or in this case, in a free camera, non-targeted mode.